going to talk a bit about muscle contraction and something called the all or none law. So when we want to contract our muscles, we basically have to tell them to. And so we send a message from our central nervous system via our motor neurons, which then transmits this chemical impulse to the muscle, which releases a chemical called a neurotransmitter, which triggers the sliding filament theory. You know, the sliding filament theory that we talked about previously. So it starts off as a chemical, an electrical thing with the transmission of the electrical impulse, called an action potential. That then triggers the release of neurotransmitters, which are chemicals, which then creates the muscle contraction. Now, once we tell a muscle to contract, it does it fully or not at all. And this is something called the all or none law. Now, the all or none law is exactly what it says. It's all or none. Now, what this basically means is, if you're wanting to produce a lot of force, then we recruit lots of muscle fibers to do that job. Now, of all the fibers that contract, they all do it fully. There's no partial contraction. So when we tell a fiber to contract, it does a full contraction. Now, the only thing that will determine the difference in the amount of force you produce, the amount of kind of strength you elicit, is how many fibers are actually getting involved. So we don't, when we pick up something like this pen, I don't do partial contractions because the pen's light. The muscles that are involved in picking this pen up, they're all firing fully, all or none, they're all firing fully. But we just have a lot less involved because it's a light pen. If this pen weighed 20 kilos, then I would recruit more fibers to do that. So that's our all or none law. And there's another term that kind of goes with this, and that's called a motor unit. So a motor unit is a single neuron and all of the muscle fibers that it initiates or stimulates or causes to contract. So a single neuron and all fibers let's go with innervates. It innervates. So if we're going to pick up a light pen, we're only going to recruit a few motor units. If we're going to pick up something very heavy, we're going to recruit lots of motor units. So a motor unit is always a single neuron, and it can be any number of fibers. Now, a large motor unit would obviously be a single neuron and maybe thousands of fibers. A small motor unit would be a single neuron and, maybe 50 fibers. So my point being is it's always just a single neuron, but any number of fibers. And that's what a motor unit is.